Game 2 of the series between the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and the York Revolution just about 15 minutes away as the Blue Crabs look for back-to-back wins and a series win over the York Revolution. The Blue Crabs have lost 3 consecutive, and they're looking to turn the page tonight. The Blue Crabs had an 8-1 win last night, in large part due to the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. Matt Hibbert, along with Raul Shah and Ian Yetzko, all went deep with home runs and played a major role in the Blue Crabs' win. We had a chance to catch up with Ian Yetzko before today's game. Back at the Reg in Waldorf, the Blue Crabs beat the York Revolution 8-1 last night, in large part due to Ian Yetzko, who hit a home run yesterday. He also hit a home run on Thursday night. Ian, you're swinging the bat pretty well right now. Can you tell me, did you make any changes to the plate, or what's going on?
Yeah, a couple changes. You know, we had a little bit of a slump there, which happens over a long season. So just had to get in the cage. Was in the cage a lot with my guys, Hibby, Z, Brax, Wilansky. Those guys, you know, have been helping me out. Been an extra set of eyes for me with the swing. Even Stan, you know, Stan's pieced together a couple key contributing factors, you know, to the swing and BP, just to be a little more consistent with it. So hopefully we can keep stringing along some good at-bats in the next couple days.
You talk a lot about the work you've been putting in off the field. I see you out here every day, and you put in, you're one of the hardest workers on this team. Can you tell me about the mentality behind that and the work ethic that goes into it?
I appreciate you saying that. Very nice for you to say that. But, yeah, just every day, you know, there's always things to work on in this game. So just want to make sure I'm taking the, you know, the chances that are available, and then surrounding myself with people that, you know, enjoy the work just as much as I do. So.
Well, Blue Crabs picking up a couple of wins now in the last 4 games against York. What is the mentality now going into these final 2 games of the series against a Revs team that has struggled a bit across the course of the season?
Yeah, you know, like over a course of a long season, you're going to have your ups and downs. We had a nice little team meeting the other day, and Stan had a lot of good points, and it seemed to sit pretty well with the boys because, you know, we came out firing yesterday, and we had a really good game all around. You know, pitching, Marathi did a great job. Defense, you know, guys made plays, and then we swung the bat pretty well. So sometimes you have to have that. I think we've only had one other meeting all year because that's just how good this team has been. But, you know, sometimes, you know, the manager at the helm just has to, you know, get us back to center, and that's why he does such a good job. So.
You've really had a good opportunity, especially recently with Michael Wilansky going down with his injury and a hole opening up there at second base. Has it helped to have so many more at-bats on a consistent basis?
Yeah, it definitely helps in the game of baseball just from, you know, seeing live pitching and everything. But then again, it just goes back to, like you said earlier, just trying to take advantage of the work that I can do on my own. Like, you know, just be professional about it. And, like, if you got to stay late, you got to stay late just to make sure you can stay locked. If you got to get there early just to get extra swings. So just taking advantage of every opportunity given. You know, you never want to see a guy get hurt, especially a guy like Mike. He's an unbelievable player, but he's an unbelievable person also. So, you know, we hope to have him back soon. But I've enjoyed the at-bats for sure to help the team out.
Well, it's good when you get into a groove here. Let's move on to our next segment. It's our trivia question segment. It's our food for thought segment. We're going to start with the question we had yesterday, and that was rank your top 3 opposing ballparks and cities. So we had Matt Hibbert last night on our post-game show. He exclusively ranked the top 3 ballparks, which is what we asked of him. But we're going to sort of expand it now. So top 3 ballparks and top 3 cities, so all in one. Okay. What do you have?
I really enjoy York. I really do. I think York's the top for me. It's a beautiful ballpark, and there's a lot of history in that city, which is pretty cool. I haven't got to do a lot of the outside things in the city, but, you know, some Stan and some guys have mentioned some stuff with, like, different monuments from, like, Civil War and stuff like that. So I think York, Lancaster, also beautiful ballpark. They do a really good job there. And then High Point, I think, too. Even though it's turf, but I think they do a really good job, and the setup, the city's beautiful, too, but they also do a great job with, you know, the fans and everything else there. So High Point probably have to be number 3 for me.
Is Staten Island in that conversation, or is the ballpark just too tough to hit home runs?
Yeah, the ball doesn't fly the best there, so, you know, the boys won't like that as much. But the skyline, the view is unbelievable. We always enjoy going. It's just different experience, you know, like different culture of everything too. So we like walking around there and experiencing those things as well.
Yeah, I think that the Staten Island Ferry Hawks have the fewest home runs in the league by about 20 compared to second last.
Yeah, I definitely believe it. We've had some guys destroy some balls there that haven't gone out, and so home runs are few and far between at that ballpark.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. All right, on to our next segment. We've done this one quite a few times, but it's worth going back to. It's our all-MLB All-Star team. top 5 starting pitchers, you have your top relievers at every position, and then you have your top fielders as well. So give me your 162-game MLB record for that all-MLB All-Star team.
Ooh, I mean, all the guys in the bigs are there for a reason because they're very talented and they're the best in the world. But anybody can win at any given night. But I think 162 games, I give them – what's the record, though?
The best is 116 wins by the Seattle Mariners back in 2003.
Okay, I was going to say 110, but that changes things then. I'll go 125.
125. The other thing that I always think about with this is, if your starter struggles, you can go to the bullpen. We got Dave Martin in the background driving his scooter around. That's why it's a little louder as is. Get a little horn action there as well. Why not? But yeah, if the starter struggles, you can go to your bullpen. You have the best bullpen guys in the league too, and then not to mention every single guy in your lineup is an all-star, so you can always pick up the slack. That's why I always thought maybe like 125, 130 is probably right around right.
Yeah, I would agree. It just shows you, though, too, like how hard this game is. So, like, even those guys are going to get outs. Like you got to end an inning at some point with 3 outs. And then it just shows you the other guys in the league are still, unbelievable talents just to be at that level. So I think 125, though, because just the depth comes into play with this, the relievers and everything else, and just a little more consistent from those guys. But, yeah, 125 we'll go with out of 162.
All right, now a AAA team. We're talking your average AAA team. And how many wins does that team pick up across a 162-game MLB schedule?
Oof, that's a tough one. Because we don't want to go offending anybody either, with the big league time and stuff. 162. Again, like a lot of those guys in AAA have big league talent. There's just maybe a log jam. There's not an opportunity for those guys. But a lot of those guys could play in the show, be in the show. They just maybe don't see the opportunity. So we'll go with 73.
All right.
Just to be considerate of it. But I think they win some games, though. Like, a lot of those guys can definitely play in the show, or have played in the show, too. So, 73.
Do you know what the lowest win total is in MLB history?
I mean, I'm from Michigan, so I think the Tigers lost over 100 games one year in my lifetime.
They were 43-119 back in 2003.
Yeah, see, I should have asked that question before I answered. 43? I did it on the question before. I should have done it on that question, too.
So you're saying this AAA team wins 30 more games than that Tigers team did in 03.
It was the Tigers team, too, right? I did know that, though. That's okay. Yeah, because I experienced that in my lifetime, being from Michigan. Yeah, maybe we'll go with 40 then.
Oh, you just dropped 33 games.
33-game jump. But, I mean, that Tigers team, a lot of people could make the argument they were a AAA team at that point, because that was before the rebuild. Because that was in 03.
Yeah.
I went to the World Series in 06.
Sounds right.
Yeah, against the Cardinals and lost there. So that was a rebuild. Those guys maybe were young, up and coming.
You're sticking with 40 wins?
Yeah, we'll say they'll. I think they may even beat that by 7. We'll say 50. I'm all over the place with this question.
You really are. 73, 40. We finished with 50, though.
Research before that one, but we'll say 50.
All right, so just to give you an idea of what the rest of the team offered here, Latos thought they could play almost 500 baseball.
Really?
Yeah, he says that there are a lot of guys who have log jams. And then I talked with Ray Ortega. He said just a few games under 500. He thought the pitching might hold them back a little bit, but he thought they could play pretty close to it. Stan Clyburn, manager, he said 60, maybe 70. He thought that was stretching it, though. So, yeah, it's a lot of answers in that 60 to 70 range. I personally thought right around 40, but you come in with 50 wins. I think that's probably fair.
I'm pretty confident, with the 50, but those guys make some good points. I mean, Latos, he would have a very good idea. Stan, obviously, he's been around, a long time and has crazy experience, so Stan would also have a very good idea. So that's what makes me question my answer a little more, those two guys. And Ray, Ray, he was in AAA with the Giants, so he saw a lot of those guys, and I think he said he was with the team they set a record for most transactions to the big leagues that year. Yeah. So I think Ray would have a good understanding of that also. So I'm just going to stick with 50, though, because I've given you 3 answers. So I'm going to stick with 50, though, on this.
All right, thanks, Ian. Really appreciate it. Good luck tonight.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Whether that AAA team wins 70 games, 40 games, 50 games, I guess we all have to make up our minds on that. Either way, Ian Yetzko is back in the lineup tonight after home runs in back-to-back games for the Blue Crabs. We'll run through that Blue Crabs starting lineup as Jack Sundberg will get the Blue Crabs going. Michael Baca bats second, Braxton Lee in the 3 spot. Jared Walker is the cleanup hitter today. It's Alex Crosby who bats fifth. Zach Collier in the 6th spot. He's back in center field. Joe DeLuca is doing the catching for the Blue Crabs. He bats 7th. Matt Hibbert, the DH tonight, as David Harris remains out of the lineup and Ian Yetzko back in at second base. Around the diamond defensively for the York Revolution, it's Melky Mesa, Connor Lean, and Troy Stokes Jr. from left to right in the outfield. In the infield, Josue Herrera at third, Elmer Reyes at short, Jeffrey Perez at second, and Telvin Nash is at first. Lenin Rodriguez is doing the catching for Austin Nicely. And now the starting lineup for the York Revolution, who will come to the plate first in the top of the first inning, as Troy Stokes Jr. leads things off. Elmer Reyes bats second, Telvin Nash in the 3 spot, Nelly Rodriguez is the cleanup hitter. Melky Mesa bats fifth, Jeffrey Perez in the 6th spot, he's at second base. Connor Lean's the center fielder, he bats 7th. Josue Rodriguez is the 8 hitter, he's at third base. And Lenin Rodriguez is doing the catching. Across the outfield for the Blue Crabs, it's Jack Sundberg in left, it's Zach Collier in center, and in right field, Braxton Lee. At third base, Alex Crosby. The shortstop is Michael Baca. At second base, it's Ian Yetzko. The first baseman is Jared Walker, and Joe DeLuca is doing the catching for Mitch Lamson. Lamson comes in with a 6-8 record, an ERA just a touch below 4. But across the month of August, the numbers much better. Has a 1.17 ERA and a 0.78 whip in the month. On the year, a 6-8 record, again, that 3.97 earned run average. We will step aside. When we come back, it's time for the first pitch from Regency Furniture Stadium. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Darryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Mitchell Lamson takes the mound for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs as Southern Maryland looks for back-to-back wins against the York Revolution. Southern Maryland just 4-6 in their last 10 games, and they have lost 3 consecutive series. They have an opportunity to change that this evening. The Blue Crabs have actually won the first game of each of the last 4 series now, but they've lost games 2 and 3 of each of the past 3, and the Blue Crabs hope to not repeat that history here against York in this series at home. And the York Revolution will get things started with Troy Stokes Jr. Had a couple hits last night, and he's at the top of the lineup tonight. Troy Stokes Jr. in the 5 spot as he had a triple. Also walked once. JC Encarnacion, the leadoff hitter yesterday, out of the lineup tonight after going 0 for 5. And the first pitch, big wave and a miss from the lefty. And the count 0-1. Well, Mitch Lamson's not going to blow you away with the velocity. He throws only around 83 to 86. Pitch, swing and a miss again, and the count 0-2. Mitch Lamson, someone who pounds the strike zone for the most part. This is not a Blue Crabs team whose starting pitchers walk a lot of batters. We can get there in just a moment. Pitch. 0-2 is just a little bit up and away, according to the home plate umpire in today's ball game. It's Jerry Burrish behind the plate over at first base. Bill Worthington. Pitch a little outside. And the count 2-2. And the third base umpire is Silvio Martinez. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out in the top of the first inning. To the leadoff hitter, Troy Stokes Jr. 2-2, upstairs, count 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. And Mitch Lamson, the 3-2 pitch. Popped him up, foul behind home plate. And the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. We're happy you could join us on a Saturday evening in Waldorf, Maryland. Pitch fouled off again, first base side. That was the 7th pitch of the at-bat as Troy Stokes Jr. works a deep one against Mitch Lamson. And the swing and a fly ball, deep left field. This one back into the corner at the warning track, I should say. And Sundberg tracks it down for the first out. Oh my, that ball was hit very deep into the left field corner, but tracked down by Jack Sundberg for the first out. Elmer Reyes will come to the plate. He bats second. They'll be followed by Telvin Nash. And the first pitch, breaking ball, called strike on the outer half, and the count 0-1 on Elmer Reyes. Last night, Elmer Reyes also in that 2 spot, 1 for 4 with a double. And the 0-1 pitch, a little bit low and away. All but one hitter in the York lineup last night picked up a hit. And the 0-1 delivery, that's low. The 1-1 delivery, I should say. Count 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, this team beaten 8-1 by the Blue Crabs. 2-1 pitch, that's inside as well. Count 3-1. The Blue Crabs also out hit the York Revolution 10-8, but the scoreline not nearly as even as that hit category. And the pitch, line drive in a shallow right center, falling fast, but it's Braxton Lee on the run. He tracks it down for the second out. Braxton Lee had a long run to get from right field into right center, and there are 2 away in the top of the first inning. Mitch Lamson has thrown 13 pitches to get the first 2 outs. We talk about long 1, 2, 3 innings. This one has a chance to be a very lengthy one. First pitch called strike, and the count 0-1. Darryl Thompson earlier this year had a 22-pitch 1, 2, 3 inning. The longest 1, 2, 3 inning we could find on record was 29 pitches. 0-1 pitch, that's away. Count 1-1. One ball, one strike, 2 outs. And Mitch Lamson, the 1-1 pitch, a wave and a foul tip. And the count 1-2. On Telvin Nash, 262 hitter, but the OPS very high at 955. Added 9 home runs to his ticker as well. And the 1-2 pitch a little away, count 2-2. Nash yesterday 1 for 4 with a double and a walk. As Alex Marathieu, the starter, went 8 innings, allowed 1 run, he walked 2, pitch up and away. And the count runs full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, this will be the 19th pitch of the inning. Here's the offering. Swinging a high pop-up, first base side, Walker a long run, over toward the bullpen, and it finds its way into the seats. And the count remains 3-2. The shadows moving across the infield toward the outfield at this point. And across the course of the summer, we've seen the different ways that the shadows have affected play. As we get toward the end of August and the beginning of September, and the sunset happens a little bit earlier, changes the way the shadows affect the field of play. Here's pitch number 20 from Mitch Lamson here in the first inning. Low and away, ball 4. And a deep count to Telvin Nash. That was the 7th pitch. Results in a walk. A 5-pitch at bat to Elmer Reyes and an 8-pitch at bat to Troy Stokes Jr. You've got a runner on first with 2 outs. As Nelly Rodriguez, the cleanup hitter, will step in. Runner on first base, 2 outs. The ball game scoreless. Pitch called a ball. And a couple people saying that was right there, that was in the zone, but the home plate umpire, Jerry Burrish, says no, missed. It looked like a strike to me, but maybe just off the outside corner. Pitch, that's away. Count 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs with the runner on first base. That one on the track man marks that one on the outside corner. Might need a slight recalibration. I think that it's off a little bit outside on lefties. Pitch, that's low, count 3-0. And now Mitch Lamson at risk of walking back-to-back batters. We mentioned this earlier in the broadcast. Lamson not somebody who walks a ton of guys. 37 walks across 133 innings. It's about 1 walk every 4 innings. Pitch, that's a called strike, count 3-1. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. With the runner on first base, that's Telvin Nash. Lamson's had a bit of a control issue here in the first. As the 3-1 pitch, big cut and a miss, count 3-2. 25 pitches, just 12 strikes and 13 balls. Dialed up the heat at 85 miles an hour. Here's a 3-2. Upstairs, ball 4. And Nelly Rodriguez aboard with a walk. If you look atop the walks rankings in the Atlantic League, you'd find Nelly Rodriguez at the very top, and it's not frankly close at all. He has 97 walks. That was his 98th. Chris Shaw with the Wild Health Genomes has 81. Davidson Romero at 75. Jared Walker at 73. And Jack Sundberg at 72. That's your top 6. The Blue Crabs single season record is 76. So just 3 more for Walker, 4 more for Sundberg as they chase the record down the stretch. And the first pitch is swung on and missed from Melky Mesa. Back-to-back walks issued by Mitch Lamson. Again, not characteristic of the lefty. And the 0-1 pitch, another healthy swing and a miss. Count 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on for the York Revolution in a scoreless ball game in the top of the first. Melky Mesa will be followed by Jeffrey Perez if necessary. Lamson, the 0-2. Very close, but misses just off the plate. Jerry Paresh so far in this contest has marked that outside corner very strictly. He's not giving you right there on the black on the edge. Call the ball, pitch, line drive, well hit, right to center field though. Zach Collier doesn't need to move more than maybe a couple of steps to make the catch for the final out. Well, the Revs, they strand 2 at the end of the top of the first inning. The Blue Crabs and the Revolution are scoreless. Blue Crabs come to the plate when we come back.
This is Ryan Haug, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Well, Jack Sundberg starts play today with a 28-game on-base streak, and he faces off against Austin Nicely to get things going in the bottom of the first inning. This one's scoreless. We'll run you through the Blue Crabs starting lineup along with the defensive alignment for the York Revolution. The first pitch is low and away, and the count 1-0. Austin Nicely's had a tough go of things. That might be putting it kindly, to be honest. After a strong season last year with an ERA below 4, and the 0-1 pitch a little low, count 1-1. This year has not gone so well for the lefty. A 3-11 record, a 7.88 earned run average, and things have only gotten worse here in August. 1-1 pitch, it's well outside, and Lenin Rodriguez couldn't close the glove on it, so the count 2-1. Across the month of August, he has a 1-3 record over 19 2/3 innings. Last time out, 5 innings, 10 runs, 6 earned. 2 home runs and 3 strikeouts across 5 innings of work. Pitch, called strike. That was one of the better outings in August. He also had an appearance when he went 4 1/3 with 13 hits, 11 earned runs, 4 homers, 3 walks, and 5 Ks. Well, a 2-2 pitch, or 3-2 pitch, I should say. Upstairs is ball 4. How about that? Jack Sundberg has extended his streak to 29 games. Well, Austin Nicely, the walks, they've been an issue, but not a major problem. It's been the hits much more so than the walks. The whip is very high this month at 2.5. His whip on the season at 1.81, which is, again, very high, but not as high as the ERA is comparatively. As the first pitch is low and in to Michael Baca, count 1-0. Runner on first base, nobody out, and a scoreless ball game. His batting average against this year is not good. 338, astronomically high. 1-0 pitch, that is fouled off behind home plate, and the count 1-1. If a single player, or hitter I should say, had his batting average, that player would have the third best batting average in the league, behind Alejandro De Aza and Alejandro Cordero. Pitch upstairs, and the count 2-1. The two of them hitting .341, and Nicely has a .338 batting average against. 2-1 on Michael Baca, with Sundberg on first base, who has a 29-game on-base streak. Pitch, that's low. Count 3-1. Seven balls, 2 strikes dealt by Austin Nicely. The 3-1 pitch, called strike. Count 3-2 on Baca. Yesterday, Michael Baca 0 for 3. He did walk once. He also scored a run. But the Blue Crabs with a really good opportunity here in the first, with Nicely working a couple of long counts where he's thrown a lot of balls. And the pitch, swinging a line drive, well struck, center field. It sends Connor Lean back in front of the warning track where he makes the catch. There's one away. Well, Connor Lean tracked that ball down well in center field, as it looked like the Blue Crabs were going to have a chance to get another base runner after Nicely fell behind in the count 3-1. And here comes Braxton Lee, who was out of the lineup yesterday, back in the lineup tonight. Was out of the lineup against the lefty yesterday, in the lineup against the lefty tonight. And it is interesting to see the difference for a lot of these Blue Crabs batters and their splits against lefties versus righties. And the first pitch low, and now the runner goes, throw it into center field, and there's a stolen base for Jack Sundberg, who extends his stolen base record for most steals in a season for the Blue Crabs. Coming into today's ball game, Jack Sundberg at 38 stolen bases, 38 for 44. He makes that 39 for 45. He's got an outside shot at 50. It's possible, though. Count 1 ball and no strikes. Pitch to Braxton Lee. On the ground over to second base on a broken bat. Fielded by Jeffrey Perez. The throw to first in time to get the lefty, and there are 2 away. Going back to those splits, though, between batters against lefties and righties, Lee, a guy who hits only .280 against left-handed pitchers. But against righty, Lee hits .324. And there's a real difference there in the splits. Sundberg actually hits better against lefties than he does against righties. A .270 hitter against lefties. And someone like Matt Hibbert does the exact opposite. A right-handed hitter who hits much better against righties. Matt Hibbert, a .287 hitters against righties, just a .175 hitter against lefties. So sometimes the splits aren't always what conventional thinking would be. Pitch to Jared Walker, foul back, third base side. We always think, lefties hit better against righties, righties hit better against lefties. And sometimes that's true because the batter can see the ball out of the pitcher's hand just a split second more quickly. It's not hidden as well when it's the opposite pitcher to the batter, but sometimes it doesn't matter. 0-1 pitch to Walker. It's a called strike, looked a little low, but the home plate umpire, Jerry Baresh, says strike, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes on Jared Walker. Sundberg leads off of third base. Blue Crabs and the Revs are scoreless. Nicely set. Here's the 0-2. Low in the dirt, count 1 and 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes and 2 outs. So that wasn't so great. I guess everybody has their voice crack moments. Sean McDonough over at ESPN, you can hear him have some voice crack moments. Usually when he's a little more excited, though. Not sure where that one came from. Either way, count 1 and 2 on Jared Walker. Here's the pitch. Bounces about 3 feet in front of home plate. That one only made it maybe 58 or 59 feet. Wasn't anywhere close, and the count 2 and 2. Back-to-back pitches in the dirt from Austin Nicely. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. No score between the Blue Crabs and the Revs. A partial swing from Walker, who now digs in and taps home plate twice. Nicely set. Here's the 2-2 pitch. On the ground, first base side, foul. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sunny skies overhead. Again, the sunset much earlier than it's been throughout the course of the summer, as the sun will be setting in Waldorf by 7:45 this evening. Earlier this summer, it was 8:45, closer to 9. It's crazy how things have flown by, and all of a sudden we find ourselves more than 2 months removed from the summer solstice back in June. 2-2 pitch, low in the dirt. The count, 3 balls and 2 strikes now on Jared Walker. Austin Nicely's inning is quite a lengthy one at this point. This will be the 20th pitch of the inning. He has had some trouble with control as well. 11 balls, just 8 strikes thrown by the lefty. Both lefties having some control problems. Lamson threw 26 pitches. I beg your pardon, he threw 30 pitches in the first inning, 15 for strikes. He's a guy who can go almost endlessly, though. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Pitch runs inside, it's ball 4. And Nicely with his second walk of the inning. And there are runners on the corners with 2 outs as Alex Crosby comes to the plate. Well, Lamson threw 30 pitches against just 5 batters. Now that's something else. That's an average of 6 pitches per batter, which is incredibly high. Here's the first pitch to Alex Crosby. That's away. Count 1-0. I mean, if Lamson was to continue on this path, it would take him 150 pitches to get to 5 innings. So I doubt it, but you never know. You just never know. Baseball's baseball. Pitch, that's inside to Alex Crosby, and the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Walker on first, Sundberg on third. And The 2-0 pitch, that's outside, count 3-0, and nicely now at risk of walking his third batter of the inning as he's behind in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. I've got a fun trivia question to get to today. I think y'all will like this. 3-0 pitch, called strike, count 3-1. We've done a variation of this question, but not this specific one. Sort of coincides with what's been going on here in the first inning. We'll make sure we'll get the players to answer this question tomorrow. 3-1 delivery, line drive, left field. This one falling and falling fast. It's going to one-hop the wall and left. Sundberg scores from third. Walker pulls on the brakes at third. It's an RBI double from Alex Crosby, who goes the other way with it. And the Blue Crabs have a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. Not done yet either, with runners on second and third. As Zach Collier comes to the plate, he'll be followed by Joe DeLuca, Matt Hibbert, and Ian Yetzko. When you look at this lineup, top to bottom, it's pretty strong. You can go to the bottom of the lineup, and your 8-hitter is 6 for his last 8 at the plate, and your 9-hitter has home runs in back-to-back games. It's a good lineup. Here's the first pitch to Zach Collier. Blue Crabs on top 1-0. They have 2 runners in scoring position. The pitch is upstairs in the count 1-0. Run back through this inning. Sundberg walked to extend his on-base streak to 29 games to start the inning. After a flyout and a ground out, Jared Walker also reached via a walk. The runners on the corners at that point. 1-0 delivery, top foul, first base side, and the count 1-1. And with runners on the corners and 2 outs, Alex Crosby goes off the wall in left and gives the Blue Crabs a 1-0 lead. That's where we stand as Collier digs back in and taps home plate twice. I think we haven't even completed an inning, and we're past 7 p.m. in the evening. Well, it says something. A couple of very long half innings. We're not even done with this one yet. 1-1 pitch, big wave and a miss, count 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Collier taps home plate a couple of times. Count 1-2. Blue Crabs looking to open this ball game up here in the bottom of the first. Nicely. 1-2 to Collier. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Breaking ball. Drops off at the last moment, and Collier goes down swinging to end the bottom of the first inning. Well, Southern Maryland tacks on a run. They do strand 2 in scoring position at the end of an inning of play. It's the Blue Crabs 1 and the Revs 0 on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Ian Yetzko, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Are you in the market for a new roof? Well, give William Richmond Inc. a call and get serviced by Southern Maryland's premier roofing contractor. Locally owned and operated, William Richmond Inc. is licensed, bonded, and insured, and has a 5-star rating on HomeAdvisor. They care about their work almost as much as they care about your home. Call 443-432-3426 today for a free estimate, or go to williamrichmondinc.com. Don't forget to mention the Blue Crabs and save 10% on any service.
Top of the second inning, the Blue Crabs have a 1-0 lead over the Revs as Jeffrey Perez comes to the plate and takes a called strike in the count 0-1. Well, fans, Blue Crabs starter Mitch Lamson threw 30 pitches in a scoreless inning. As the 0-1 pitch is away, count 1-1 now on Perez. That brings us to our trivia question today. We're going to type it in the YouTube chat in the fourth, but I thought we'd get it to you here in the second. And the 1-1 pitch, big wave and a miss from Jeffrey Perez in the count 1-2. Our trivia question is, how many pitches have been thrown what's the most number of pitches thrown in an inning without allowing a run? And the 1-2 pitch is fouled off, first base side. Most number of pitches thrown in an inning without allowing a run. When I say an inning, I really mean a half inning, so by one team, not the combined number. The combined number there in the first inning was 59, scoring just one run. 1-1 delivery, fouled off, first base side, the count 1-2. Earlier this year, we asked the trivia question that was, how many pitches were thrown? What is the most number of pitches, I should say, thrown in a 1-2-3 inning? And now the 1-2 pitch, line drive to center, sends Collier back. He leaps up and reaches up and makes the catch for the first down. Jeffrey Perez struck that one well to center, and there is one away. Here comes Connor Lean. Lean, the center fielder with a lot of speed, digs in. Yesterday, Lean 1 for 4. Josue Herrera also 1 for 4. Herrera moved down in the lineup from 6th to 8th. The first pitch to Lean is fouled back in the count 0-1. Give you an idea on velocity. We'll get there in just one moment. And here is the pitch. That's inside. Count 1-1 now on Connor Lean. Austin Nicely has topped out at 93.1 miles an hour, which is some solid heat for a lefty. Mitch Lamson, on the other hand, at 86. Now here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Connor Lean down on strikes. Our scoreboard only had it at 1-1. That second pitch was actually a called strike. So that was strike 3, and now there are 2 outs. It's the first strikeout of the evening from Mitch Lamson as Josue Herrera comes to the plate. 6, 7, and 8 for York in the inning. The Blue Crabs 1 and the Revs nothing. Blue Crabs scored a run on an RBI double from Alex Crosby. First pitch fouled off, third base side, and the count 0-1. Lamson, someone who generally works pretty quickly. He's thrown 40 pitches across an inning in 2/3. Better than 30 pitches in one inning, though. That's how he started his outing. A couple of walks mixed in there. And the 0-1, that's away. Count 1-1. One ball, one strike, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Low, and the count 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike on Josue Herrera. Here's the delivery. Swing and a miss. Really nice breaking ball on the slider from Mitch Lamson, falling away from Herrera. And the count 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Blue Crabs have a 1-0 lead with the base paths empty. Now the sun playing a major factor in center field. Pitch, line drive to right field. It's in there for a base hit. Josue Herrera ropes a single into right, and the Revs have a runner on first base with 2 outs. Well, Lenin Rodriguez comes to the plate. Rodriguez has been splitting the catching duties with John Nunez. And tonight, Rodriguez in, Nunez out. That is John Nunez, spelled J-H-O-N, not J-O-H-N. The H comes after the J. I haven't seen that one before, but always love a new name that you come across. First pitch called strike on the outside corner to Josue Herrera. The 0-2 will have to wait as Mitch Lamson tosses to first base to check on the runner, Herrera. This will be the 15th pitch thrown here in the second. That pitch count really rising. Pitch, line drive, right center field. A base hit, could be extra bases. It's Braxton Lee who fields and throws into second. And Herrera goes first to third. Lenin Rodriguez with a base hit. And there are runners on the corners with 2 outs. Troy Stokes Jr. comes to the plate. And we were sort of joking earlier when we said, hey, how long would it take for Lamson to go 5 innings? But this will be his 47th pitch of the ball game. We're in the 2nd inning. Well, Troy Stokes Jr. flied out to left field his first time up. And he's only allowed 4 base runners. It's not like he's allowed 9. Every single count has been a deep count with the exception of that base hit from Rodriguez on an 0-1 pitch. First pitch is away, count 1-0. Lamson has thrown 28 strikes, 19 balls, which is an improvement over his first inning where he threw 16 strikes and 14 balls. Pitch, that's away as well, count 2-0. He's really not getting the benefit of the doubt from home plate umpire Jerry Baresh on these pitches on the corner. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Called strike, count 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, and despite the fact that this is a 1-0 game, I'm not sure I've seen a longer time of game across not even an inning and a half in what's just a 1-0 ball game. Two balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Pitch, swing and a miss, count 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 1-0, the Blue Crabs lead the Revs. Stokes bats from the right side, the lefty-righty matchup. With a 2-2 count. 2 outs, 2 on, pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, it's taken Mitch Lamson 51 pitches to get through 2 innings of work. And the Blue Crabs still have a 1-0 lead here at Regency Furniture Stadium. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
And the first pitch to Joe DeLuca is lined into left field for a base hit. The Blue Crabs on the first pitch of the bottom of the second inning rope one into left. And the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs have a runner on first base with nobody out. As Austin Nicely did not do nicely in the first inning, and the second inning has not started off very well either. As Joe DeLuca rips that one to left. Runner on first with nobody out. In the bottom of the second inning, the Blue Crabs won and the Revs nothing. The Blue Crabs scored their lone run back in the first on an RBI double from Alex Crosby. Here is Matt Hibbert. 3 for 4 yesterday. First pitch low and in. It gets away from Lenin Rodriguez. DeLuca to second. Takes a long turnaround second base, but Lenin Rodriguez collects it by the Blue Crabs bullpen. Or beg your pardon, dugout. And the count 1-0 with a runner on second base now and nobody out. Matt Hibbert 3 for 4 yesterday, and each of his 3 at-bats he drove in a run. Couple of RBI singles and a solo shot. And he's going to find himself back in the lineup after that. Also went 3 for 4 in game 2 of that last series. 7 for his last 11 at the dish. Pitch up and away. Count 2-0. Doesn't help Austin Nicely that he has thrown 18 balls and 14 strikes, in addition to the fact that he's allowed a couple of hits. 4 base runners across the first inning plus of work. Nicely the 2-0. Swinging a ground ball over to second. It's fielded by Jeffrey Perez, who has one play. It's at first base. And there is one away. And Ian Yetzko digs in. Again, the velocity not bad for Nicely at all, especially coming from a left-handed pitcher. A lot of times in a league like the Atlantic League and independent leagues at large, you'll see left-handed pitchers who have low velocities. I'm talking significantly below 90 miles an hour, 85 to 87, and who don't specifically identify as, crafty pitchers. Pitch, ground ball. That one deflects off of Nicely. A big-time play, a lucky play. It robs a base hit from Ian Yetzko, who would have had a single up the middle, no doubt. But it deflected off of Nicely, who didn't even see it. Just sort of hit his leg and fell down directly in front of him. And he managed to pick it up, look back the runner at third, and throw to first. And that's the game of baseball for you. Sometimes you get a lucky break, and that's what Austin Nicely got just there. And Jack Sundberg will come to the plate. In his first plate appearance, he reached on a walk, extending his on-base streak from 28 games to 29 games. The longest on-base streak for the Blue Crabs last season was 21 games. The season in 2019 at 16 games. In the Atlantic League at large, we'll give you those numbers in a moment. Pitch upstairs in the count 1-0. Carlos Franco had a 50-game hit streak, or on-base streak. It was unbelievable. And the 1-0 delivery upcoming to Jack Sundberg. Low, and the count 2-0. I mean, a lot of times you had to think of these streaks. You sort of break them down into 2 parts, right? It's 29 games, a long streak. But think about a player getting a 15-game on-base streak, and then to add on to it another 14-game streak, right in a row. I mean, those 2 are difficult enough on their own, but to combine them into one and now find Sundberg with 29 straight. Pitch, line drive into center field. It's a base hit. It scores DeLuca from third, an RBI single from Jack Sundberg, and the Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the second inning. Well, the Blue Crabs have an opportunity tonight to win back-to-back games for the first time in 2 weeks. The last time they did so was against the Staten Island Ferry Hawks when they actually won 3 in a row. Won the last 2 in Staten Island and won the first game against Gastonia. It was a 3-game win streak. The Blue Crabs proceeded to lose 6 of the next 8. Probably their weakest stretch of the year. Pitch, line drive towards center field from Michael Baca. And it's the center fielder Connor Lean there to make the catch for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs score 1. They strand 1 at the end of 2 in Southern Maryland 2. It's York nothing on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Stick with us for a moment of silence for those lost, missing in action.
This scene was made possible by the Chippewa of Charles County. So please join us in a moment of silence to honor these great servicemen and women. Never forget, thank you.
This is Michael Baca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Well, Elmer Reyes will get things underway in the top of the 3rd inning. 2-0 Blue Crabs. First pitch called strike on Reyes, and the count 0-1. Blue Crabs 2, York nothing. A run in the bottom of the 1st, another run in the bottom of the 2nd. An RBI double from Crosby in the 1st, and an RBI single from Jack Sundberg in the 2nd. The 0-1 pitch. That was awfully close, but called inside for ball 1 by the home plate umpire, Jerry Barash. This game has been lengthy due to a lot of pitches, and now the 1-1 popped up in foul territory. DeLuca gives chase. He runs out of room, and the count 1-2. I think that just would have been a little too quick of an at-bat for today's standards, as Mitch Lampson has gone 2+ innings of work and thrown 54 pitches. If he's going to go 5 at this rate, he's looking at north of 125 pitches. And Lampson will do that, by the way. He's gone 131 already this year. One-two delivery upcoming from Mitch Lampson. That's upstairs. Count 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Here's the offering. Swing a high pop-up, shallow left field. Michael Baca calls off the left fielder Jack Sundberg and makes the catch overhead for the first out.
Now that I reveal the first baseman, number 27, Calvin Nash.
Telvin Nash comes to the plate with 1 out in the 3rd. Mitch Lampson, somebody who has seen his ERA drop significantly, especially recently. Pitch, that's outside, count 1-0. We'll give you the numbers on that momentarily. As the 1-0 delivery to Telvin Nash. Swinging a foul ball back behind home plate, count 1-1. Mitch Lampson's ERA was at 4.55 to end the month of July. Now sits at 3.90 after 3 outstanding starts in August, where his ERA sits at 1.17 for the month. 1-1. Away, count 2-1. Across the month, he has allowed 2 earned runs in 25 2/3 innings. And now the 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss. Count 2-2. Telvin Nash taps home plate once. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Big time home run threat. Nash has 9 home runs. Delivery, swing and a miss, strike 3. Telvin Nash, the 2nd strikeout victim, or the 3rd strikeout victim, I should say, for Mitch Lampson, who has now gone 2 2/3 innings in just 61 pitches. Just 61 pitches. And after throwing as many balls as strikes in the first, Lampson, over his last 31 pitches, has 22 strikes and just 9 balls. He's really gotten the control back in progress. And the first pitch is away to Nelly Rodriguez, the count 1-0. One-0 pitch, fouled back, count 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Base paths are empty as Nelly Rodriguez digs back in, pitch, that's up and away, count 2-1. Nelly Rodriguez, been with York since 2020. And the 2-1 pitch, a called strike on the outer half, count 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2-0 Blue Crabs with the base paths empty. He most recently played with the Akron Rubber Ducks in Double-A. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Mitch Lampson, a 1-2-3 inning that somehow took just 16 pitches. Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead after 2.5. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Bottom of the third inning, the first pitch to Braxton Lee, a called strike on the outside corner. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. 0-1, that's low in the dirt. Skips away from Lenin Rodriguez. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Southern Maryland 2, York nothing. Blue Crabs 2 runs on 3 hits. The Revs no runs on 2 hits. Nicely has thrown 40 pitches across 2+ innings. Here's the offering. That's a called strike on the inside corner. And the count 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Pitch. That's away. Count 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Braxton Lee. That one's inside. Count 3-2. Here is the 3-2 pitch on the ground. Through for a base hit into left field. That one just past the outstretched reach of the shortstop, Elmer Reyes, and another hit for the Blue Crabs here in the third inning. The legend of Dalanitis says Section 3 is for the distinguished gentleman. The legend, we're happy to have you with us on the broadcast. He said, let's get those pots boiling for a good steam. Tammy Shipley says, cheering on Jared Walker and the Blue Crabs from Ohio. Go Crabs. Well, Tammy, we're always happy to have you. First pitch to Jared Walker, up and away. Oh, it's a called strike. That looked high. Either way, it's a called strike, and the count, no balls and 1 strike on Jared Walker. Runner on first, nobody out. Oh, 1. Foul back, and the count 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. As Austin nicely approaches 50 pitches on the evening. Blue Crabs batters 4 for 10, but 6 out of 12 have reached after a pair of walks have been issued by the lefty. Oh-2 delivery. Swing a topper foul. Third base, or first base side, I should say. The count remains 0-2. And the pitch to Lee. Or pitch to Walker, I should say, is low and away, and the count 1-2. Lee leads off of first base. Lee hitting .312 on the year, or .314 on the year. He's on first base, with Jared Walker hitting .232 entering action today. Walker walked earlier in this ball game, though, and that gets him to 74 walks on the year. Just 2 shy of the Blue Crabs record. 1-2. Swinging a line drive over to second base. That's 1, and the throw back to first. That's 2. Braxton Lee caught in no man's land between first and second. His single erased on a double play line out from Jared Walker. Braxton Lee in a little bit of a tough spot there. If that ball bounces, he's going to be out at second. And so I think he decided, well, I think it's somewhere in between, and he was sort of caught in between first and second. It is a double play ball from Jared Walker. And here comes Alex Crosby with 2 outs in the bottom of the third. First pitch inside, count 1-0. That was pitch number 50 to Alex Crosby across 2 2/3. Austin nicely has managed to keep the pitch count rather low considering the strikes to balls total. And the 1-1 offering is in there for a called strike. 26 balls, 25 strikes. Now the pitch to Crosby is fouled back. And the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Blue Crabs 2, the Revs nothing. In the bottom of the third, 1-2, big wave and a miss, strike 3. Crosby doubled in a run back in the first. He goes down swinging here in the bottom of the third. Well, that ends the third inning. The Blue Crabs still have a 2-0 lead over the Revs. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Alex Crosby, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
At Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, mortgages are what they do, not who they are. Fairway Mortgage Corporation is a proud partner of the American Warrior Initiative. A key part of this initiative is to educate, encourage, and inspire Americans to give back to our military. Visit their website at www.americanwarriorinitiative.com for more details. Our military fought to protect the American dream. Let's help them live it. And we get ready to go on the top of the fourth inning. The first pitch, a breaking ball swung on and missed by Melky Mesa. Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead in the top of the fourth inning. And now the 0-1, swinging a line drive back behind home plate, count 0-2. 3 innings, 67 pitches from Mitch Lamson. Now at that rate, he'd be going north of 110 pitches across 5 innings. So the rate's getting better. It was at 150 at one point, but still not where you'd like it. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Mitch Lamson drops the curveball, and Mesa swings through it for the first out. Three consecutive strikeouts for Mitch Lamson. And the first pitch, a called strike on Jeffrey Perez. Count, no balls and 1 strike in the top of the fourth inning. Here's the offering from Mitch Lamson. That's low. Count 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out on Jeffrey Perez. Here is the 1-1 delivery. Line drive to right. Lee took a step in. Now he's got to go back. He reaches up and makes the catch over the shoulder for the second out. 2 up and 2 down in the top of the fourth inning. And Mitch Lamson
has all of a sudden found a groove. That's 6 consecutive batters retired by the lefty. A 1-2-3 third. And got the first 2 outs here in the fourth, I should say. Got to get that math right. But 6 in a row, 2 here in the fourth, 3 in the third, last out in the second. And Connor Lean taps home plate once. And the first pitch called strike. That one's on the inner half in the count 0-1. Mitch Lamson's pitch count just 73. And now the 0-1 pitch. That's a little inside. The really nice thing about Lamson from a fan's perspective is how quickly he works. Not a lot of time between pitches. He gets on the rubber and he throws. Pitch, that's inside, count 2-1. Base paths are empty with 2 outs. Blue Crabs 2 and the Revs nothing. Lamson the 2-1. Away in the count 3-1. Doesn't throw particularly hard. Again, Lamson might top out around 86 with that fastball. He's having a good day, maybe 87, but most of the fastballs in the 83 to 85 range. Pitch fouled back to the netting. And the count 3-2 now on Connor Lean. Blue Crabs 2, the Revs nothing. On a terrific evening in Southern Maryland. We got quite the sunset going in right center field. And the 3-2 pitch fouled off over toward the light post on the concourse level. And the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2-0. Blue Crabs over the Revs. We're going to give you that trivia question one more time. What's the most number of pitches in a scoreless inning thrown by a pitcher in Major League Baseball? Most pitches in a scoreless inning. That's our trivia question tonight. 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Connor Lean struck out on a high fastball from Mitch Lamson, who's now gone 4 innings of work. He's thrown just 79 pitches, put himself and put the Blue Crabs in a good spot going into the bottom of the 4th inning. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Daryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
And the first pitch in the bottom of the 4th inning, a line drive to the center fielder. And there is one away in the bottom of the 4th inning. Connor Lean there to make the catch. There's now one away with Joe DeLuca coming to the plate. DeLuca 1 for 1. Again, our trivia question is now posted in the YouTube chat. Go ahead and answer that. The pitch to DeLuca. It's a bunt down the third base line. Throw to first. They got him. Oh, DeLuca had a good bunt, too. It was a long run for Austin Nicely, the pitcher, to get there. But he did, and he fired to first and beat DeLuca by a step. And there are 2 away. DeLuca runs well enough. He's got some good initial explosion. But he came up a step short that time around. A couple guys, maybe Jack Sundberg beats that out on a bunt like that, but it's tough. Also, coming from the right side of the plate, you have that extra step to go as you're a little further than the lefty batter's box. First pitch, and home plate umpire Jerry Baresh calls time. And the pitch. Called strike. The count 0-1. Oh, 0-1 delivery. That's low to Matt Hibbert, and the count 1-1. One delivery. That's away. Count 2-1 now from Nicely on Hibbert. 58 pitches thrown by Austin Nicely, 31 strikes, and the pitch. Hard line drive, third base side. Oh, it's a foul ball. Oh, that's not a foul ball. Oh, my. The third base umpire, Silvio Martinez, almost acted like he wasn't watching. And Matt Hibbert not happy with the call down the third base line. A very lackadaisical call by the third base umpire, Silvio Martinez. It was a rocket hit right at him. And he just sort of stands there, hands on his hips, and then he just looks at it, it almost hits him. No flinching at all. And that ball was in fair territory down that third base line. I mean, the second hop was in foul territory, but it was tailing. And now the 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Matt Hibbert down on strikes, and he can't be happy with the call by Silvio Martinez, the third base umpire. Well, at the end of 4 innings of play, the Blue Crabs still have a 2-0 lead as Austin Nicely sets the Blue Crabs down in order 1, 2, 3. We go to the top of the 5th on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Ryan Haug, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Top of the fifth inning, first pitch from Mitch Lamson drops in for a called strike on Josue Herrera, and the count 0-1. Blue Crabs 2 and the Revs nothing. Blue Crabs scored 1 in the first and 1 in the second, as the 0-1 delivery a little low and away, count 1-1. RBI double from Crosby in the first, and RBI single from Sundberg in the second, as Mitch Lamson has thrown his 81st pitch of this ball game. 1-1, big wave and a miss, count 1-2. So fans, go ahead, give us your guesses on the most pitches thrown in a scoreless inning in Major League history. That's our trivia question tonight. We'll read out all the answers that come through the YouTube chat. 1-2 delivery. Swing and a miss, strike 3. For Lamson, that's his fourth strikeout against the last 5 batters. Struck out the last batter in the third. He added 2 in the fourth. And he gets a swing and a miss from Josue Herrera to get things going in the top of the fifth. Breaking ball going away from the lefty Herrera. And there's one away. And the first pitch to Lenin Rodriguez. A little bit inside in the count, 1-0. I mean, strikeouts are always going to drive the pitch count up, but when you have a lot of deep counts, it doesn't help either. 1-0 pitch, called strike, count 1-1. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Blue Crabs ahead by 2 in the top of the fifth. Lamson, the 1-1. Up and away, count 2-1. For the Blue Crabs, 2 runs on 4 hits. For the Revs, no runs on 2 hits. And the 2-1 pitch, a little away, and I guess it missed. Count 3-1 to Lenin Rodriguez. Base path's empty. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, an aggressive swing, and Rodriguez was ahead on the fastball. Again, this is not a particularly hard fastball. I think Lenin Rodriguez might have been juicing up for a 95-mile-an-hour pitch, and it came in at 85. Very healthy cut that time from Rodriguez. 3-2 pitch on the ground over to second base. Fielded belt high by Ian Yetzko. The throw a little high, but Walker gets down to the bag in time for the second out. And there are 2 outs now in the top of the fifth inning. And that brings up the leadoff hitter, Troy Stokes Jr. For Mitch Lamson, this will be the 90th pitch of his outing. We've been tracking pitch count quite a bit throughout the outing. And if you're just joining us more recently, we'll get to that in just one moment. First pitch is a little away, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. The reason is that Mitch Lamson threw 30 pitches in the first, threw 21 in the second, 1-0. Oh, man, that's really close. But a home plate umpire tonight, Jerry Baresh, not giving Lamson the outside corner. And the count 2 balls and no strikes. That one, I think, is right there, but it's called the ball. 2-0 offering. That one's a called strike on the inner half. And now the count 2-1. So he threw 51 pitches across the first 2 innings. He was in line over 5 innings to throw more than 130, but he's gotten that pitch count down more recently. 2-1 pitch, wave and a miss at a breaking ball low and out of the zone. Count 2-2. Since then, across the last 3 innings or so, not quite 3, he's been just a touch over 40 pitches. So much, much better as far as pitch efficiency. 2-2 pitch, tapped foul, third base side. Should be a little safer there. That's 2 2/3 innings across 42 pitches. So looking at about 15 to 16 pitches per inning, which is much better than 26. The pitch, line drive, right at the third baseman, Alex Crosby. Troy Stokes Jr. hit that ball right on the nose, but right at Alex Crosby, who makes the catch for the final out in the top of the 5th inning. Well, once again, the Revs go down in order. We're halfway done at the Reg in Waldorf. The Blue Crabs lead 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Well, Ian Yetzko gets us started in the bottom of the 5th inning. First pitch to the righty is up and away in the count 1-0. Now Yetzko, back in the 2nd inning, hit a ball that looked tailor-made for center field, but it deflected off of the leg of Nicely and dropped right down in front of him for an easy out. 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss, count 1-1. Well, the Blue Crabs in game 2 of a 3-game set against the Revs this evening. Pitch, big swing and a miss yet again, count 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. Yetzko taps home plate once. Here's the 1-2. Way inside, count 2-2. So after getting robbed of a base hit back in the 2nd, he's got another shot here in the top of the bottom of the 5th, leading things off. Pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3, breaking ball, low and out of the zone. And Yetzko said that it was a foul tip, and the third base umpire Silvio Martinez concurs that yes, it was a foul tip. And it looks like what's going to happen? Is he out? And Yetzko's saying it's the third base umpire's call, and now they're going to come together. The umpires are going to convene and try to figure out what's going to happen here. Third base umpire Silvio Martinez says he thinks it was a foul tip. And Stan Clyburn having a couple words with Ian Yetzko, who was adamant that he got a small piece of that ball. And we'll have to see what the decision is from these umpires as they try to figure out what the call is. Taking quite a while to decide, is that a strike, a swinging strike, or a foul ball? I mean, I think you just ask around, make your decision. Is it a foul ball or is it a swinging strike? It's not terribly difficult. This really does not need to be a 60-second conferral. And they're calling him out. Yetzko's not a fan of the call. I have to imagine it has something to do with the home plate umpire being overturned by field umpires and what specific rulings are on that and who has the call on a foul ball like that, regardless of who had the best view. So that's what we find ourselves in. Strike 3 against Ian Yetzko, regardless of what the call should have been. First pitch to Sundberg on the ground, first base side. Really nice play on the forehand by Telvin Nash, who fields and steps on the base for the second out. Quickly 2 up and 2 down in the bottom of the 5th inning. And Michael Baca will come to the plate. Baca, the 2-hitter for the Blue Crabs. So regardless of what the call should have been, Yetzko struck out to start the inning, and a ground out to first from Jack Sundberg. Pitch to Baca. That's a called strike. Baca thought it was a little low, but got him right there at the knees, and the count 0-1 on the righty. No balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Bottom 5, the Blue Crabs have that 2-0 lead from back in the 2nd inning. RBI double from Alex Crosby, an RBI single from Jack Sundberg, and that's the difference. The pitch to Baca, upstairs, count 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, bottom 5. As Michael Baca made his presence known in the field yesterday with a star-studded double play ball. Pitch, ground ball over to second base, fielded by Perez. The throw to first in time to get Baca for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs set down an order for back-to-back innings. Austin nicely seems to have found his groove here in the 5th. The end of 5 innings of play. Blue Crabs still have that 2-run lead. You're listening to Blue Crabs baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Ian Yetzko, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Are you in the market for a new roof? Well, give William Richmond Inc. a call and get serviced by Southern Maryland's premier roofing contractor. Locally owned and operated, William Richmond Inc. is licensed, bonded, and insured, and has a 5-star rating on HomeAdvisor. They care about their work almost as much as they care about your home. Call 443-432-3426 today for a free estimate, or go to williamrichmondinc.com. Don't forget to mention the Blue Crabs and save 10% on any service.
Well, the first pitch is in there for a called strike on Elmer Reyes, and the count 0-1. Top of the 6th inning, Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead over the Revs as Mitch Lamson back out. Pitch, popped him up, shallow left field. Sundberg has no idea where it is, but Baca tracks it down in shallow left and makes the catch for the first out. Sundberg throws his arms up in the air like, I've got no clue. And then Baca is seen waving everybody off. No one was within maybe 50 feet of him, but he makes the catch anyway, and there is one away. It'll be interesting to see what the Blue Crabs do here into the 6th and 7th inning. First pitch called strike on Telvin Nash, and the count 0-1. I say that because York has 2 hits across 5 1/3 right now. But the pitch count for Lamson eventually has to come into play. This is pitch number 99. It's low, and the count 1-1. So how long does Lamson go? I mean, if he's in the 7th inning, and he's thrown 125, and he's only allowed 2 hits in this ball game, do you take him out? Do you keep him in? 1-1 deliveries low and in, and the count 2-1. Give you an idea of his pitch counts over the past few games. First, the 2-1 pitch popped up. Foul territory. It's the first baseman, Jared Walker, who's over to make the catch for the second out. 2 away. Well, in the month of July, he threw 125, 94, 116, 101. Ran into a lot of trouble on July 29th, only threw 73 pitches. In game 1 of a doubleheader here in August, a complete game, 80-pitch shutout. In his second game in July, 110 pitches over 7 innings, and 122 in the complete game against Wild Health on August 21st when the Blue Crabs were shut out 2-0. And the pitch, swing and a miss from Nelly Rodriguez, count 0-1. I mean, if he can get through the end of 6 within, I don't know, maybe 105 pitches, 106, he'll definitely come out for the 7th, or at least I would have to think so. 0-1, called strike on the inside corner, count 0-2. And we've seen Mitch Lamson pitch with terrific efficiency before. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Oh, how about this inning? A couple of pop-outs and a strikeout to Nelly Rodriguez. It was just 8 pitches for Mitch Lamson to retire the side in the 6th. He has retired 10 in a row. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Blue Crabs still have a 2-0 lead over the Revs.
This is Michael Baca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Well, we are underway in the bottom of the 6th inning. The first pitch, a called strike to Braxton Lee. And now the 0-1 is up and away, and the count 1-1 strike. Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead As the pitch is up and away, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike now. Base path's empty, 2-0 Blue Crabs. Pitch, high chopper over to first base. Telvin Nash flips to the pitcher nicely, who wins the race on a very close play with Braxton Lee at first base. And so there is 1 away in the 6th. Well, Austin nicely has really recovered from what was a very, very tough first and second innings. Nicely had walked 2 and allowed 4 hits in the first 2 innings and had surrendered 2 runs as a result, but since then has been rock solid. And here comes Jared Walker. First pitch called strike, count 0-1, and nicely has kept that pitch count way down. That was just his 75th pitch across 5 1/3. You do some simple math, tells you, well, he'd get to 100 right around 7. 0-1 delivery, line drive, third base, line. That time it's a fair ball. Walker around first, and he trots into second with a 1-out double. For Austin, for the Blue Crabs, I should say, it's the first base hit since the 3rd inning when Braxton Lee started things with a single. Well, Austin nicely has faced the minimum across the last 3 innings. And Zach Collier will follow Alex Crosby, who steps in for now. For the Blue Crabs, 2 runs on 5 hits. For York, no runs on 2 hits in the bottom of the 6th. No errors from either side. It's been a rather clean game with the exception of that first inning when both pitchers had a lot of trouble with control. First pitch is low to Alex Crosby in the count, 1 ball and no strikes on the lefty. Crosby has one of the 2 Blue Crabs RBIs tonight. Had an RBI double back in the 2nd inning, I should say. And the 1-0 pitch, that's low, count 2-0. That wasn't called a strike. Our scoreboard now reads 1-1. We'll have to get to the bottom of this. There's no way that second pitch was a strike. It was way low. And the pitch, that's inside. I have 3-0 right now. The count up on the scoreboard is 2-1. Oh my, it was called a strike on that breaking ball. Well, that didn't look anywhere close. Either way, count is 2-1. Jerry Baresh was not all that clear with his strike call in the low pitch. Now the 2-1, that's low, and the count 3-1. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, or 1 out, I should say, with a runner on second base. Blue Crabs ahead by 2. And the 3-1. Line drive, third base line foul. And the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Happy you could join us for this evening's contest. Blue Crabs ahead 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning, looking for back-to-back wins for the first time in nearly 2 weeks. Also looking for the first series win in their last 4 tries. Pitch, slow ground ball back to the mound. Nicely fields in the backhand. He fires to first, and there are 2 away. Runner on third base now as Jared Walker goes from second to third following the double. And it's Zach Collier who will step in, be followed by Joe DeLuca. Collier 0 for 2. Struck out and he lined out to center. after a very lengthy first inning and a half. This ball game has been moving a little bit faster. First inning and a half took about 40 minutes. Pitch up and in the count 1-0. That was nearly 7:20 by the time the end of the top of the second. It was the end of the top of the second. So again, very, very lengthy. Nicely set. 1-0 pitch on the ground, over to second, fielded on the backhand by Jeffrey Perez. A throw to first in time to get Collier, who was sprinting down the line for the final out in the top of the seventh inning. Or the bottom of the sixth inning, I should say. We go to the top of the seventh inning. It's the Blue Crabs 2. It's the Revs nothing on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Alex Crosby, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
At Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, mortgages are what they do, not who they are. Fairway Mortgage Corporation is a proud partner of the American Warrior Initiative. A key part of this initiative is to educate, encourage, and inspire Americans to give back to our military. Visit their website at www.americanwarriorinitiative.com for more details. Our military fought to protect the American dream. Let's help them live it. Well, we are underway in the top of the seventh inning. The first pitch to Melky Mesa is a little bit away for ball one. Count 1 ball and no strikes as the Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead over the Revs, and now the 1-0. That's up and away. Count 2-0. Offering upcoming from Lamson. Swinging a pop-up foul, count 2-1. Lamson enters this inning having thrown 104 pitches. And the pitch, big wave and a miss, count 2-2 now on Mesa. Give you the numbers so far on Mitch Lamson. 6 innings of work. He has struck out 8 across 107 pitches. Lamson has struck out 8 while walking just 2 and allowing 2 hits. As the 2-2 pitch missed low and in the count 3-2.
Well, the Blue Crabs catching situation is a very interesting one. Joe DeLuca has become the primary catcher since returning from injury. As a 3-2, hard ground ball foul, third base side. That one just tiptoed that third base line, but clearly foul. And Silvio Martinez makes the call correctly this time. Had a couple iffier calls. I think he was wrong on the line drive off the bat of Matt Hibbert. That was really, really close. It's tough when it bounces before the bag, and you got to make that judgment call. Pitch, slow ground ball over to third. It actually deflected off of Melky Mesa's foot, so it's a foul ball. And that was the 7th pitch of the at-bat. So Mitch Lamson having to work against the first batter here in the inning. There is some action for the Blue Crabs. We'll let you know of who is warming up as soon as we have a clear look. And the pitch, top foul back behind home plate. Count remains 3-2. I'd imagine that Patrick Baker is unavailable today. Baker went an inning and 2/3 last night. I think it would probably be Dykstra and Briseño who will carry the brunt of the load. 3-2 pitch, slow ground ball, fair territory, tough play. DeLuca tosses, he get there in time? Yes, he did. Just a little over the head of Melky Mesa, who was sprinting down the line, and there's one away in the top of the 7th. For Mitch Lamson, that was pitch number 113 for the lefty. It does appear that's Patrick Baker warming up, though. It had been a little while since he last threw. Went an inning and 2/3 last night, but I guess he's back out there throwing again tonight, or at least that might be the plan should Lamson run into trouble here in the 7th. Stan Kleiber, never somebody who's been all that concerned with pitch counts. As the first pitch from Lamson, low and in the count 1-0. And Lamson's always been happy to do his part. Whether it's throwing 125 or 131, that's the number he hit against Lancaster earlier this year. And that was pitch 114 to Jeffrey Perez. And again, we've talked about this at length in the past, but 114 pitches from someone who throws 101 like DeGrom is not the same as 114 pitches from someone like Mitch Lamson, as the 1-0 pitch is in there for a called strike, count 1-1. I mean, it's the toll it takes on your arm to be throwing at one velocity versus a completely different velocity. It just can't be the same. 1-1 pitch, swing and a foul tip. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Jeffrey Perez. The other thing that's really been impressive from the starting pitcher for the Blue Crabs, Mitch Lamson, is the lack of hard hit balls. As the 1-2 is low and away, count 2-2. Yesterday, Alex Merritt, you dominated. He went 7 innings, 1 run. But there were a lot of hard hit balls along the way. Not the case tonight for Mitch Lamson. Allowed just 2 balls hit north of 100 miles per hour. Here's a 2-1. Called strike 3. 2-2 pitch, I beg your pardon. Jeffrey Perez down looking. Our scoreboard here in the ballpark had it at 2-1. But it was the 2-2 pitch, and it's strike 3 from Mitch Lamson. And back-to-back outs here in the top of the 7th as Patrick Baker continues to warm. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Pitch, swing and a miss. Count 0-1 to Connor Lean. 118 pitches from Mitch Lamson. 0-1, a little away, count 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs across 120 pitches for Mitch Lamson. One would have to imagine this would be the end of the road for the Blue Crabs starter, but based on the way he's been pitching, I think Southern Maryland would be happy to send him back out there at some point, though. A certain number of pitches is enough. 1-1 is fouled away first base side, count 1 and 2. Just to give you an idea of how he's done, especially recently. Got the last out in the 3rd inning. Pitch popped up again, first base side. The count remains 1 and 2 as it goes on top of the roof on the concourse. 1-2-3 3rd, 1-2-3 4th. In the 5th inning, another 1-2-3 inning. The 6th was another 1-2-3 inning. So that's 13 in a row. And now 15 consecutive here after back-to-back outs in the 7th. 15 up, 15 down across the last 5 innings. So it comes to the point you take someone out who's pitching that well, especially with the lack of hard hit balls. 1-2. Upstairs, count 2 and 2. And the Revs were generating something back in the first 2 innings. Couple of base hits back in the 2nd, put runners on the corners. Lenin Rodriguez and Josue Herrera with back-to-back hits. But that's been it. 2-2. Swinging a high pop-up, shallow left field. It's Michael Baca who calls off Jack Sundberg and makes the catch right around head high for the final out. For Lamson, 16 consecutive up, 16 consecutive down to end the top of the 7th inning. It's time to get up and stretch here in Southern Maryland. The Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead over the Revs.
This is Daryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
to start the bottom of the 7th inning, it's Joe DeLuca who leads off and takes ball 1 a little bit low, and the count 1-0. Blue Crabs 2, Revs nothing. The 1-0 delivery, that's low in the dirt, and the catcher Lenin Rodriguez has a little bit of trouble picking it, but there's no one on, so no worries. 2 balls, no strikes, no outs. Blue Crabs 2 runs on 5 hits. The Revs no runs on 2 hits. It's been that kind of a performance from the Blue Crabs starter this evening, Mitch Lamston. 2-0 pitch, that's low and away, count 3-0. Blue Crabs haven't scored a run since the 2nd inning, though. And it looks as though Patrick Baker is set to enter this game in the 8th inning. 3-0 pitch, called strike, letter high. I beg your pardon, that's DeLuca, who is not a fan of that call and looked back at the home plate umpire, Sherry Paresh, as if to say, that's not a strike. It was called a strike anyway, and the count 3-1. Joe DeLuca unstrapped that shin guard. 3-1 pitch to the righty. Swing and a miss, high fastball beat him. The count 3-2. Austin Nicely has now pitched into the 7th inning. He's only thrown 89 pitches, so it makes sense. There is action in both bullpens, though Baker has since sat down. 3-2 delivery. That's ball 4, borderline pitch just off the outside corner. And there's a runner on first base with nobody out. That brings up the bottom of the lineup. Ian Yetzko will follow Matt Hibbert. So Hibbert to the plate first, and then Yetzko. Hibbert 0 for 2 today, but similar to Yetzko, he feels as though he was robbed on one of those. Should have had a double down that third base line, but the third base umpire, Silvio Martinez, called it a foul ball. It appeared to be a sweep over there at third. Not only was he standing right there, the ball was like maybe 6 inches away from hitting him. He just stood there, didn't move. Pitch, line drive, right field side, tailing foul toward the kids' park. Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead over the Revs on a Saturday evening in Maryland. Waldorf, Maryland to be exact. Blue Crabs have a 73-37 record. You're looking to get back to 667. And the 0-1 pitch, a wave and a miss at a breaking ball, count 0-2. That's 667 winning percentage. Always important when you can double up the wins over the losses. And 74-37 would do that in game number 111. Especially after a streak of tough performances. 0-2 pitch, dribble or foul, third base side. Count remains no balls and 2 strikes. We had a chance to talk with Matt Hibbert after last night's ball game as part of the post-game interview. Braxton Lee decided that he would join in on the fun as he launched some confetti into the air during the middle of our interview. And a loud bang sound as well. I was originally caught a little off guard. Didn't know what it was until I saw the confetti falling everywhere. And the pitch, line drive, right field, base hit. DeLuca going first to third on the single from Matt Hibbert. And the Blue Crabs have runners on the corners with nobody out in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Ian Yetzko will come to the plate. You do have to wonder how much longer the leash is for the starter, Austin Nicely. As Mark Mason comes out to the mound, how long is the leash? Well, not long at all. In fact, no longer. As Mark Mason will make the call to the bullpen. Austin Nicely goes 6+ innings of work. He allows 6 hits. He's responsible for the 2 runners on base. We will step aside. When we come back, we'll break down the numbers on the new pitcher for the Revs on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. appeared like it was the end of the leash for Austin Nicely. In fact, it was not. It was merely a meeting at the mound with Mark Mason and his veteran lefty, who has convinced manager Mark Mason to keep him in the ballgame. Well, it's DeLuca on third and Hibbert on first with Ian Yetzko at the plate. Did he leave him in one batter too long? I guess we'll see. Yetzko is 0 for 2. He thought he had a single up the middle, but it was knocked down by Nicely back in the second inning as he fouls one off directly overhead. And the count 0-1. No balls, one strike, nobody out. Oh, 0-1 delivery. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball low and out of the zone. Curveball's hurt him so far today. He struck out on a curveball. And 0 for 2 tonight after he went 1 for 3 last night with a home run. Had a couple of hits on Thursday, another home run. Had a chance to talk with Ian Yetzko in our pregame show today. 0-2. Swinging a line drive, right field, well struck, tailing foul. And the count remains 0-2 on Ian Yetzko. As Nicely looks to work through this bottom of the 7th inning without any further damage after having allowed 2 base hits. DeLuca from third, Hibbert from first. 0-2. On the ground at third. The throw is to the plate. It's in plenty of time to get DeLuca, who was running on contact. Yetzko reaches. Hibbert over to second base. So runners on first and second with 1 out as there's a fielder's choice. A very strong throw to the plate from Josue Herrera. And now it's the end of the road. Well, it's interesting that they gave him one more batter against the righty and now go to the lefty as there's a pitching change from Southern Maryland. Runners on first and second with 1 out when we come back on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Oh, the first pitch is outside, double steal in effect, and the Blue Crabs are successful in the double steal on the first pitch from Doug Olchesi. And the count 1 ball and no strikes on Jack Sundberg, and now 2 in scoring position. So Yetzko on second, Hibbert on third base. The infield now comes in for the York Revolution. Called strike at the belt. Count 1-1 on Jack Sundberg. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. 2-0 Southern Maryland leads the York Revolution. Matt Hibbert a short lead down the third baseline. And Jack Sundberg a considerable lead off of, or I beg your pardon, that's Ian Yetzko a considerable lead off second. Jack Sundberg at the plate. He has an RBI single to his name already. Pitch, line drive, well struck to left, it tails foul yet again. Right toward that Legends Club. And the count 1-2 on the lefty. Happy to have you with us. See if we have any additional answers from our trivia question tonight. Just one. Tammy Shipley says 42. As far as the most pitches thrown in a scoreless inning in MLB history. See if we can get any others. 1-2 is lofted foul yet again. Third base side out of play. Yetzko on second. Hibbert on third. Blue Crabs 2 and the York Revolution nothing. 73-37. The record for the Blue Crabs across 110 games. And the pitch to Sundberg, low in the dirt. It gets away from the catcher only briefly. Lenin Rodriguez, but he sticks with it. And the runners hold. Two balls, 2 strikes. The Blue Crabs looking to extend their 2-run lead here in the bottom of the 7th inning. With Jack Sundberg, who extended his on-base streak to 29 consecutive earlier today. Pitch, hard line drive, foul. Oh my, it was roped at a couple of fans who got out of the way at the last moment. I hope might have hit somebody. I hope everybody's all right, as medical professionals trying to rush over to the scene there. As we take a break in the action after that ball was blistered at a fan. And there is, of course, netting behind the plate, but directly over the dugout, there's not as much netting. Oh my, you just have to hope that person is all right. As Jack Sundberg drilled that ball toward the first base side over the Revs dugout, about 7 or 8 rows deep. And a fan in the stands was hit by a baseball. As medical professionals are there trying to help out. Looks like everybody's going to be all right. That's a great sight to see. And might have been a younger fan who was actually hit by that baseball. Either way, I hope everybody's going to be just fine over there. And we resume our baseball game with runners on second and third and 1 out. The Blue Crabs ahead by 2. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes on the lefty Sundberg. Will be followed by Michael Baca. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sundberg down swinging, and there are 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th for Michael Baca. Michael Baca on the evening without a hit. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Blue Crabs have 2 runs on 6 hits. The Revs have no runs on 2 hits. And now a lefty, it appears it's Nick Wells up and throwing for the Blue Crabs. And you have to wonder if the Blue Crabs would go as far as to send the starter Mitch Lampson to the mound. Pitch, that's away, count 1-0 on Baca. And that's considering that he's thrown 124 pitches. Yetzko on second, Hibbert on third with 2 away in the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, Casey the pitch. A little outside, count 2-0. A couple of borderline pitches that Baca has gotten the benefit of the doubt on. And 2-0 pitch, swing and a miss, count 2-1. Two-one. Foul back to the netting, count 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Blue Crabs have a 2-run lead in the bottom of the 7th. Count 2-2 on Baca with Hibbert leading off of third. Here's the pitch. Swinging a line drive, well struck down the left field line, long run, and on the run, oh, what a play. The left fielder, Melky Mesa, chased that ball down the left field line and stole extra bases and a couple of runs for the Blue Crabs. Southern Maryland has a 2-0 lead at the end of 7. We go to the top of the 8th. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Before we go, you're going to see more of Mitch Lampson when we come back in the top of the 8th.
This is Ryan Haug, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Well, the Revs will send 8, 9, and 1 to the plate to get things going in the top of the 8th inning. The first pitch from Mitch Lamson's a called strike. That's number 125 on the evening, and he comes out and starts the 8th. You're wondering why we'll get there after this pitch. Here is the 0-1 to Herrera. That's low and away, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. The reason is that he has not allowed a base runner since the 2nd inning. 5 consecutive 1-2-3 innings and got the last out in the 2nd, 16 straight. 1-1, big cut and a miss in the count 1-2. He is getting these York Revolution batters completely off balance. 9 strikeouts across 7 innings and 127 pitches. Nick Wells warming up in the bullpen, but it's Lamson who's pitching incredibly well. The pitch, swing and a miss, breaking ball low in the dirt, and Josue Herrera chases for strike 3. Oh my, how about this? Strikeout number 10 on pitch 128. And Lamson's been efficient across the last 6 innings or so. After a 30-pitch first inning, he's gone 98 pitches across 6 1/3, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's relatively efficient after an incredibly long first inning. As a pitch comes into the field of play, or from the bullpen over on the York side. Here is Lenin Rodriguez. The pitch count is astounding from Mitch Lamson. This is like numbers I haven't seen before. 0-1, swinging a high fly ball, left field, rather deep, but certainly playable for Sundberg, who's on the edge of the track and makes the catch overhead for the 2nd out. A strikeout and a long fly out, probably one of the harder hit balls that Lamson has conceded all night. Now, Mitch Lamson came in having thrown 124. With 2 outs, he's only thrown 129. That last ball was well hit, but sky high. And the first pitch now to Troy Stokes Jr. fouled back, and the count 0-1. That's number 130 for the lefty Mitch Lamson. 7 2/3 innings, has not allowed a run. He struck out 10 in the process, and he's retired. Oh yeah, forgot about that, 18 in a row. 0-1 pitch upcoming. Swing and a miss, count 0-2. Breaking ball, and Troy Stokes Jr. swings over it. And the count 0-2. Oh, 2 pitch upcoming to Troy Stokes Jr. upstairs in the count 1-2. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Troy Stokes Jr., who played in the major leagues. Here is the 1-2 pitch, line drive foul, first base side, and the count remains 1-2. This is not a team for York that is free from MLB experience. Melky Mesa, Jeffrey Perez, Troy Stokes Jr. all played at that level, and Mitch Lamson making them all look silly tonight. Across an incredibly high workload. Pitch number 132. It's the 1-2 offering. It's called strike 3. How about that? 11 strikeouts on 132 pitches, and Mitch Lamson's gone 8 strong tonight. Retired 19 consecutive batters, and who knows, maybe he'll be back out for the 9th inning. The Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th in the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Michael Baca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Bottom of the 8th inning, 2-0 Blue Crabs. As Tucker enters the ball game. There is action in the Blue Crabs bullpen. It's James Dykstra up and throwing. And the first pitch is a little away in the count 1-0. It would almost be comical at this point if Lamson stayed in the ball game, but his performance has justified it. But at some point, even on a guy who's only throwing 85 and is a real workhorse, the 1-0 pitch is a called strike, count 1-1. There's a certain limit to how many pitches you can throw. I mean, it's not in Lamson's best interest, I don't think, for him to go out there and throw 160 pitches tonight. I just don't think that's in the cards. The 1-0 pitch is low, or the 1-1 I should say, count 2-1. And on that note, Mitch Lamson has retired 19 in a row. I mean, that last inning from Lamson was 10 pitches because he only needed to throw 10. Pitch to Braxton Lee, line drive to left. Melky Mesa on the run, he tracks it down by the left field line, and there's one away. Now, I don't think James Dykstra is just warming up here just to warm up in case the Blue Crabs starter Lamson runs into trouble. I think he's out there to come into this ball game. This is a guy in Dykstra with considerable AAA experience, pitched in Mexico this year, has had some strong numbers across the board, and has pitched very well here in Southern Maryland and wants to make that jump back to AAA. I'd imagine he's coming in here for the save in the top of the ninth. Arsenio's had quite a few nights off, but it looks like that's going to continue to be so. Pitch to Walker is fouled back in the count 0-1. Walker will be followed by Crosby, as the 4 and 5 hitters will come to the plate. The York pitching staff's been really good. They've allowed just one hit since the 3rd inning. It was a double by Jared Walker. Pitch to Walker, swing and a miss, count 0-2. Other than that, the Blue Crabs offense has been held completely in check since the 2nd inning. Blue Crabs got a run in the first on an RBI double from Alex Crosby, scoring Jack Sundberg from third base. Blue Crabs stranded runners on 2nd and 3rd in the first. In the 2nd inning, a single from Joe DeLuca on the first pitch of the inning, and Jack Sundberg drove him in on an RBI single later in the inning. 0-2 pitch, fouled back in the count 0-2. It remains. But that's it. That's the offense for the Blue Crabs tonight. 2 runs on 6 hits for Southern Maryland. For the Revs, no runs on 2 hits. I'd be very interested to see what happens here at the end of the bottom of the 8th. Does Lamson trot back out there for the 9th? I don't think so, but it's hard to say. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3 on Jared Walker. 2 away in the bottom of the 8th as Alex Crosby comes to the plate. Blue Crabs on top 2-0. The offense has been quiet, to put it kindly, since the 2nd inning. But so has the Revs. The Revs have not had a base runner in the last 19 batters. And it's a great story for Mitch Lamson as well, as the first pitch to Alex Crosby. Line drive to first base will stick with you until we see who's coming out of the dugout. And to see him have a 1.17 ERA coming into the month, and then for him to retire 19 in a row here down the stretch this evening, as the Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead. Still no sign of who's coming in, as James Dykstra walks out toward the mound. No sign of Mitch Lamson. He hasn't really made a move to the mound, but it looks as though it's going to be James Dykstra entering the ball game here in the 9th inning, as the Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead. That'll do it for Mitch Lamson. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll give you the numbers on James Dykstra, with the Blue Crabs ahead by 2.
This is Alex Crosby, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
At Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, mortgages are what they do, not who they are. Fairway Mortgage Corporation is a proud partner of the American Warrior Initiative. A key part of this initiative is to educate, encourage, and inspire Americans to give back to our military. Visit their website at www.americanwarriorinitiative.com for more details.
We go to the top of the ninth inning as the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead, and James Dykstra enters the ballgame. And the first pitch is a little bit outside, count 1-0. Elmer Reyes at the plate as the 1-0 offering inbound from Dykstra. On the ground, back to the mound, fielded on 2 hops by the righty. He fires to first, and there is one away. Well, let's give you the numbers on James Dykstra, who has not allowed a run yet with the Blue Crabs. Dykstra pitched with the Blue Crabs back in 2019. He has 4 appearances, 4 innings, 3 hits. He's walked 2. He struck out 8 in that time frame. Signed by the Blue Crabs back on August 16th, adding a very significant depth piece to that bullpen. Earlier this year, the Blue Crabs were working with guys like Roney and Wells in high leverage situations, and Wells battling an injury across much of July. Pitch called strike on the outside corner, the count 0-1. And that moved into August as well. He was warming up earlier today, but he ends up not coming into the ball game. He's close to 100%, but he's not quite there yet. 0-1 pitch. That one tap foul behind home plate, count 0-2. So Dykstra being paired with Baker and Briseño as 3 high-end relievers at the back of that bullpen. And that's not even including Matt Latos, who of course has been the closer all year. It's a very big piece for the Blue Crabs. And Latos, of course, has been in and out of that bullpen across the last month or so, with a couple of injuries he's battling through. Briseño has picked up the slack in the bullpen. Latos has made just 1 appearance since the beginning of August. That came back on August 19th, a week and a half ago, and pitched well in that outing, allowed just 1 hit. He struck out 1, but felt discomfort and didn't return to the ball game. 0-2 pitch, low and away. It's partially blocked by DeLuca, and the count 1-2. So the ability, especially with Latos out, to have a Dykstra, Baker, Briseño back end is critical. And it appears as though Dykstra really wants to be either that setup guy or the closer. And there's enough time and innings to go around to make that possible. We saw Baker, Wells, Dykstra going tonight. Either way, count 1-2. Pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Dykstra gets a ground out back to the mound and a strikeout now to Telvin Nash, as Nelly Rodriguez will come to the plate with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. The Blue Crabs ahead by 2. 2 runs on 6 hits for Southern Maryland tonight. No runs on 2 hits for the Revs. Blue Crabs pitching has retired 21 consecutive York batters. It's something extremely impressive. Mitch Lamson went 134 pitches tonight, 8 innings, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 11 strikeouts. The first pitch, a hard fastball on the outer half, in the count 0-1. Velocity is there from James Dykstra. The fastball at 95. Here's the pitch, upstairs, count 1-1. ball, 1 strike, 2 outs for Nelly Rodriguez. Here's the pitch. Foul back behind home plate. One ball and 2 strikes on Nelly Rodriguez. The righty who leads the Atlantic League in walks with 98 after a walk tonight. Digs back in from the right side. James Dykstra trying to put him away. Blue Crabs on top by 2. Dykstra looking to complete the shutout. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Powers a fastball past him. And the Blue Crabs are winners tonight, 2-0. The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs snap a streak of 3 consecutive series losses against Gastonia, Kentucky, and this York team on the road. They've won back-to-back games to get things going at the Reg in Waldorf. The Blue Crabs get 8 innings out of Edris Briseño and a 1-2-3-9 from the reliever James Dykstra. Southern Maryland retired 22 consecutive York batters to end the ball game as the Blue Crabs come away winners tonight, 2-0. We're going to run through the box scores, the scoring plays, and the pitchers. There's not much to report. It was a uneventful game in some respect, which happened to go well for the Blue Crabs. Let's start with the box score. Sundberg 1 for 4. He drove in a run. He struck out once, also walked once, and extended the on-base streak to 29 games. Baca 0 for 4. Lee was 1 for 4. He did not strike out either. Jared Walker 1 for 3. He walked and struck out once. Crosby 1 for 4 tonight with an RBI. Collier was 0 for 3. He struck out once. DeLuca 1 for 2 with a run scored and a walk. Matt Hibbert 1 for 3. He picked up a single in the 8th inning. Yetzko was 0 for 3 with the strikeout tonight. That's the entirety of the offense for the Blue Crabs. Meanwhile, the pitchers, well, something else. The win for Mitchell Hampson improves merely to 7-8. The ERA down to 3.75. That's not the important part. 8 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts across 134 pitches. That is the important part. James Dykstra picks up his first save with the Blue Crabs tonight. He struck out 2 batters. He's gone 5 scoreless so far for Southern Maryland in the victory. Well, let's give you the scoring plays. We'll send you on your way, and then we'll see you tomorrow at 2:05 p.m. for Game 3 of this 3-game set. Alex Crosby with runners on first and second drove a double down the line and left. A 1-hop, the Mini Monster, and the Blue Crabs took a 1-0 lead in the first. In the second inning, with a runner on second base, Jack Sundberg drove 1 up the middle, brought home Joe DeLuca, and gave the Blue Crabs a 2-0 lead. That lead would hold the rest of the way. The Blue Crabs would only pick up 2 more hits all night, and the Revs did not have another hit after that. They did not have another base runner after that, as the Blue Crabs pitching staff retired the final 22 batters of the ball game. That'll do it from us tonight here on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. The Blue Crabs winners 2-0 over the Revs. Have a terrific night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. We finish, as always, with the same 4 words. Let's go, Blue Crabs.